Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage, Marcus Brigstocke! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, before anything else, please give a massive round of applause for William Stone! That was great. They have not. Unbelievable! Fair play to him. That is magnificent. That's incredible. I was tweeting earlier while we've still got Twitter about how lovely it is here, and Mark Steele said to send you his very best. I mentioned on Twitter what a joy it is to play Chorley Little Theatre, and Mark Steele immediately said, "Oh, send them my love." So here's Mark Steele's love being sent on to you. So, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, basically exercised the stuff from before, so we'll try and concentrate on this. But I mean, I think now I cannot be alone in feeling quite strongly at this stage that we miss lockdown, don't we? We miss lockdown. Come on, those were comfortably two of the best Christmases any of us have had or could possibly hope for, when you could, with the full backing of the law, bring your family and say, "You stay the fuck away from my house. You stay in your cottage, you weird anti-vaccine cow." You even approached my house. "I won't bring the police." "Oh no, I'll alert the local WhatsApp group." You want to see what they did to Terry when he took his bins out a day early. We miss it. I do genuinely miss it. It was very traumatic at the time, but I miss a lot about it. And I think I'm weird where this is concerned, but I'm curious. How many of you got involved with homeschooling? Oh yeah. People I think didn't like it. Did you find your respect for teachers went from sort of, yeah, they do a good job, it's sort of for nannying, isn't it, with long holidays, to holy shit, give them a medal and a pay rise? Yeah. Who said yes down here to that respect for the teachers? Oh, you waved at us, bright lights. How old are your kids or kid that you homeschooled?
I didn't homeschool, I went to the school.
Oh, I see. Oh, wait. So your respect for teachers was quite low until the pandemic. Then you went, "Yeah, fucking fair enough." Who homeschooled their kids? Did anyone like me enjoy it? No. All right. I've learned loads. I learned a shitload. I've realised with hindsight that had I not been drunk, I'd have got a lot from school. GCSEs are very difficult when you're pissed, I tell you. I homeschooled my two teenage kids, and to be honest with you, one of the main things I learned is that my two kids, thick as pig shit, sadly. No, I didn't know, because after they're little and you're not really involved in their homework anymore, you don't really know what they're doing. You sort of see their grades and that's it. But fuck me, my two dim as shit. I mean, I mean it. If they come troubling any of you for a job, you tell them to piss off. They got nothing. They literally, the best I can hope for them is a position in the cabinet. Nothing, it's a waste as well. They go to a posh school, which is probably why I enjoyed the homeschooling, because the weekly lesson plan came with a wine list. Simple pairing suggestions for the different subjects, with English, a nice crisp rosé, history, dry, white. Unbelievably dry and incredibly white. I could have sworn us Brits had been to a few places, but no. Apparently we stayed here and we were charming throughout the whole thing. Obviously with maths and physics you go straight to the port and brandy. Chemistry, you rewatch Breaking Bad. That's how I taught it. Now my two kids may not be bright, but they are earning some money now. And then with the arts subjects, drama, painting, that sort of thing, Prosecco. So we had some fun. And I know quite a lot of people set themselves challenges during lockdown, during the pandemic, little personal challenges. Did anyone, for example, set out to learn a language? Yeah. Yes? Good for you. What did you try and learn? Welsh. Are you Welsh? No? There's a sort of sad resignation in your voice that suggests to me that the attempt to learn Welsh may not have gone very far. How much Welsh can you now speak? Oh, yeah, come on, a big round of applause. That's the stuff. Oh, that's fantastic. Well done you. And how come you picked Welsh? That's curious. I'm interested. Oh, nice. Okay, that's perfectly reasonable. And when I took the show to the Edinburgh Festival this year, I mean, I sort of expect a certain level of radio forness from my people who want to come to my shows. But I said, did anyone try and learn a language? And a woman's hand in the second row shot up like that, and I thought we got trouble here. And I said, did you learn a language? She said, yes, Latin. So, fuck off. Marcus Brigstock, the only comedian to be heckled out of his own show in Latin. Did any of you, like me, attempt to learn a language and then realise you already spoke it? I had a second go at learning French, which I sort of in theory can speak, and then went, oh no, this is ridiculous. But I have, like you, I've carried on, and I'm actually, at the moment, rather proud of this. I'm reading the original French version of Les Miserables. And I can tell you a little bit about it. I made some progress. It's published by Penguin. A picture of one of these guys. Apart from that, I've not got a clue what's in it. We're good. Now, apart from learning a language, did anyone else set themselves any particular challenges during the lockdown, or how did you pass your time? Anyone? No? That's all right. No pressure. I'm just curious. You did what, sorry? You went to work? Good. Okay, that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. What do you do when you're working? You work in a school? All right. Did you go, I mean, obviously you had to work. Were you working from home, or did you go into the school? But you didn't shut? Oh, right, okay. Were you running one of those schools for kids of key workers and stuff? Oh, come on, round of applause for that. That's the stuff. Right, well, that'd be great. Someone else said I went fishing. Perfectly reasonable. Did you catch anything? Yeah. Oh, now there's one person said he went fishing. Others go, oh, well, if that's all right, yeah, I did too. Yeah. I had someone the other day said, what did you do? And a woman said, I knitted jumpers for chickens. I thought, that's mad. That's demented. And then I asked her, and she said, actually, a lot of battery chickens, because of the stress of the environment they're in, they get rescued from battery chicken farms, and they've got no feathers. And so she spent her lockdown knitting little jumpers for chickens, and I thought it was really lovely. I thought it was a wonderful thing. And I said, I presume it's a relatively simple knit, it's just sort of a cone. And she went, oh no, you have to make quite complex wing holes for them. And I was like, yeah, I can see how that would be. Otherwise, chicken would just be like a little chickeny straitjacket going, well, I wish I was still a battery head. And then she said, after a while, they became quite elaborate. So I've got the idea now of a rescued battery hen in a sort of double-breasted Arran. We went on a huge number of very, very long walks. We live in London, and we went just on very, very long walks because it was one of the few things we were allowed to do, and that was problematic. It was wonderful. There was no cars on the road, amazing. But problematic in that I'm very, very, very nearly 50, which means that I have a lot of wheeze, an unexpected number of, well, I've had 2 since I came on. I don't even know when. And so, no, I mean, basically about 3-4 years ago, my bladder turned into Columbo. You know, every time I assume it's finished, it goes, just one more dig. You laugh. I spent a lot of last summer giving beige trousers to charity shops. I did. I had to find interesting places to discreetly have a business, because obviously everything was closed. You couldn't go anywhere, so I had to find. Basically, I spent nearly a year marking my territory. According to the law of the jungle, I now own most of Tooting. So it was very strange. And did any of you, like me, find a very passionate, strong feeling about the survival of your community, particularly businesses that were closed? somebody's staring at me fairly blankly now. But I felt very strongly about local, not like big businesses. You knew Sainsbury's were probably going to be all right, but like local businesses, ones that I had never been in. I found myself going, come on, vape shop, you can make it. I was like Jimmy Stewart at the end of It's a Wonderful Life running through Bedford Falls. Merry Christmas now, bar! And it wasn't just businesses, it was that sense of community, of us together. We live very near to Clapham Common, which you may or may not know, has a wonderful and very vibrant cottaging scene. Bumming, open to all ages, and of course that was absolutely decimated. You know, I think Eat Out to help out, help a bit, help get it off its knees, or on its knees probably. But I mean, and you could always rely on it, but it was gone. A few things more devastating than seeing a man in his late 30s standing alone in a patch of nettles, pants and trousers round his ankle, looking hopefully off into the middle distance for anyone wearing a mask over face and cock. Got a Scotch egg if there are 5 of you. It was actually Rachel and I on one of our long walks, so I'll never forget it. We were coming back early evening and she tapped me on the shoulder and she said, look, he's getting bummed. And I thought, yeah, we're going to be okay. The community will survive. That's thin ice, that joke. But here's the thing, and here's what I genuinely believe about the last couple of years, despite there having been a lot of problems, and I think there's a lot of resentment knocking around. I know that I certainly carry some and still perhaps some fear. But the truth about it is that most people, most of the time over the last couple of years, have been unusually kind and unusually thoughtful and considerate. Do you feel this? I feel this so deeply, and it makes me feel very, very grateful. I really do. I saw it all the time. People reaching out and doing things for each other while we were isolated. Did any of you shop for a neighbour? During the, yes, and people who said yes down here, who shopped for a neighbour? Give me a wave in the darkness. Yes, you did there. Good for you. Who did you shop for?
My next door neighbour.
Your immediate next door neighbour. Good for you. Is that a person you already knew, or?
Yeah,
Of course, we're in the north. Yeah. Different London. That's so lovely. And did you, like me, because I shopped for our neighbours as well, did you, like me, find that you had to upgrade some of the items on this? I was frankly appalled by the scant knowledge of British cheeses held by the people of Balham. Sliced mild, not on my watch, lady, no. But that's what I saw, and you lived it, exactly that. People reaching out, helping each other. We carried on wearing a mask long after we thought they were having any effect at all. And I do mean a mask. I mean the one disposable mask, yes, that you shared with all of your family. You know, the one, it was on a hook by the front door. Loads of foundation over the nose part of it. Where's the mask? It should be on the hook! Come on! You know, the one, the single-use mask. Single-use because you only used it during one pandemic. That's it. So we carried on putting those on beneath our chins, mostly. As a sort of face hammock. But I'll be honest with you, I hated wearing a mask, right? Because I wear glasses, right? So you will know I spent 2 years thinking there was a fire. It was difficult, wasn't it? But I liked the masks. I really liked when the masks were compulsory in public places, when we were in shops and railway stations and stuff, when they were compulsory, because they turned out to be an absolutely phenomenal way of spotting an arsehole from range. Didn't they? Normally you have to guess whether someone's a thundering great selfish man-baby prick. But with the mask mandate, oh, there's one over there. Normally you'd have to look up who Lawrence Fox is afterwards. Or far right said Fred, you know. But the mask made it great. Most of us went and had vaccines that we knew, frankly, very little about. But we went and had them because we believed it was the right thing for us and the right thing for the people that we loved and for our neighbours and stuff, right? And the levels of confidence in vaccines definitely wobbled. Even I'm as pro-vaccine as you're likely to find anywhere, but it fucking scared the shit out of me. Give me a cheer. Right? Who here had Pfizer? Yeah, you people pretty confident. Pfizer had a pretty decent level of published research knocking around about it. The Pfizer, if you had a vaccine, what do you have? Pfizer, you'll be fine. Who here had Moderna? Yeah, that was a shot in the dark, wasn't it? No, what have you had? Moderna. Okay, good luck. Good luck with that. And who here had the British one? Prison hooch, AstraZeneca. Hey, British nonsense. Mixed in a bucket. What do we do? Inject it? No, shot the bastard. Most people, most of the time, were kind and decent and reached out. We have a neighbour, I'll tell you this, right? We have a neighbour near us. Her name's Jean. She's in her late 80s or early 90s. We've never asked her. She is widowed. She's delightful, and she's about this tall. The reason I tell you, I'm not trying to shame her for her age. The reason I mention how short she is she happens to have an absolutely beautiful hanging basket by her front door, and I know she doesn't own a ladder. So what I'm saying is something rather magical is happening. I don't know if Jean can fly, but I have my suspicions. But here's the truth. Jean is in her late 80s, early 90s. She's widowed, she lives alone, she lives very near us, and we've got to know her a little bit. Now, Jean was an NHS nurse for over 40 years. And when the pandemic began, she phoned St George's Hospital in Tooting and said to them, I still have my uniform in the cupboard, and if you need me to come and help, I'd be more than happy to. Because that's who we live amongst. That's who we are. Right? All the division and the dishonesty of Matt Hancock and Boris Johnson, these fucking people who betrayed and lied to us and cheated and gave contracts to their friends, millions of pounds, all of that, fuck that. We live amongst people who are kind and who are decent, people like Jean. And it didn't stop there either, right? As I said, she's in her late 80s, early 90s, widowed, a retired NHS nurse, volunteered to go back to work. And about 6 months into the pandemic, Rachel and I, my wife and I, were out walking, and we saw Jean, and she said, how are things? And we said, you know, well, there's no work. Comedians, everything went. There was no work, there was no furlough payments, there was nothing for us, nothing at all. There were online shows which were roughly, yeah, this sort of volume. So it was just hard. And Jean said to me, she said, if you need to borrow any money, I'd be more than happy to lend you some, and I'd never mention it because I know you'd pay it back when things get back on track. Because that's who we are, that's who we're surrounded by. And I owe 14 grand. None of us thought she would live through late 2020 should have been a phenomenal time to borrow money from the elderly. We went on holiday, she knew, we had a tan, came up, I put new wheels on the car, she could I'm kidding, it's not true. But I do want you to know, it's important, the first two things I told you, she did volunteer to go back to work, I wasn't japing you for the punchline, and she did genuinely offer to lend us money, and no, we don't know her any money, not anymore. The lawyers have been very clear, and so it was, it was mad, and everybody that I know and care about did their best, and it was difficult. We did our best. I mean, with Rachel and I, we had COVID very early on. It was very, very scary, and because we knew someone had died, and it was terrifying. We lost our sense of smell completely, and when that came back, we realised that we fucking stunk. God, it's horrendous. So we genuinely spent quite a lot of money on scented candles. And I don't want to be sort of too gendered and stereotypical about this, but I do think this is important to say for the men in the room. Are you familiar with those bottles of oil, scented oil, that have sticks poking out the top of them? Do you know those? Scented oil with sticks? Don't light those. Plenty of fire, but not, they don't smell great, to be honest. 3 times I did that. First was a mistake, second to check, and the third, very lonely, just wanted a visit from the fire service. Rachel said she fancied the second one along. So, but we spent money on scented candles, and I was very lucky. I managed to get us online, I managed to get 2 of Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina-scented candles, which are marvellous. They go for over £100 each. Her candle. She sells genuinely through her Goop company, and it says on the candle, Gwyneth Paltrow, this candle smells like my vagina. Right, and I told you I got 2, but I'm not stupid. What I did is I sent one of them straight off to Chris Martin for verification. And as soon as he came back with a yes, we sparked up the other one. And what I will say, Geordie, is well done, Gwyneth. Top notes of cinnamon. Who'd have thought she'd have a Christmassy hoo-ha? But here we are. Did not expect to refer to Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina as a hoo-ha. But anyway, but it got the old grey matter spinning up here because, you know, they're very expensive candles and we had no income. So what I've done is I've got some old Yankee candles from a few years ago and I've been putting a mixture of bacon and syrup in there and they're starting to smell a lot like my gooch. So if anybody wants one of those, I'll be selling them at the end of the show. £8 a pop. They don't smell great, but they do give off a lot of heat, and in that way, they are quite accurate. But it's very weird, the Goop thing. Gwyneth Paltrow's hugely successful company and tragically too closely linked to the anti-vaxxer movement because it's a wellness company. I don't know how much you know about wellness. It's very similar to health, but told you by a liar. Because I'm a fan of Gwyneth Paltrow as an actor. I think she's great, Sliding Doors, Shakespeare in Love, and all of that. And then with the Goop stuff, I think she should go to jail. No, because so much of it as well is encouraging adult women to push pebbles up their fannies, and I don't think that's on. It is jade eggs and business like that. It's fine if kids do it, isn't it? That's fine. Now, come on, in the playground, little boy comes up and goes, you see how many of those you can poke in your front bum and I'll balance and swing on my knob. That's not adult. She sells it all on there. Things to put in magnetic Kegel balls. She sells a pair of magnetic Kegel balls. Well, we got a set for my mum for Christmas. And I said to Rachel, I said she'll never use those, but God bless her, on Boxing Day we've had her stuck to the fridge. Well, I mean, you laugh, it'll slide her off with a spatula. Useful though, we pushed her around the floor, found my missing AirPods. Festive as well, they jangled as you came down the stairs. Sleigh bells? Oh, hello, Mum. So it's a lot of it is it's a lot of the wellness thing Gwyneth Paltrow's into. You know, there's a lot of nonsense, but an awful lot of it's fanny based. She steams her vagina. She recommends you steam your vagina. So listen, I'm not judging. It can get quite cold here in the winter. I don't know. Some of you may steam your vaginas already, so perhaps some of you have never heard of it. Now that I've mentioned it, you'll spend the rest of the evening crouched in front of the dishwasher on a hot cycle. If you've got a Bosch, be careful. It's more steam than you expect. I burnt my tip. We had to call off candle production for nearly a week. Top layer of mugs are ruined. Truth is, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how Gwyneth Paltrow steams her vagina. Like you, Chorley, I assume she uses a freshly toasted pita bread. Come on, Chorley, we know this. There is no steam hotter or purer than that contained within the freshly toasted pita bread, is there? I'm talking, they're roughly the right shape, aren't they? Resembling as they do the old school panty liner. I'm talking a proper white bread kebab shop pita. Yeah, not one of those healthy seeded round Dr. Oetker ones. You wouldn't know where the steam was going to jet out. The steam to jab into your nooner. No, it's very much my assumption that Gwyneth Paltrow gets a pita, pops it in the toaster, and when it's nicely puffed up, takes it out and slowly, not all at once, you're going to jet of steam between your legs, no good at all. Slowly lowers herself onto the pita bread, giving herself the sweet bready steam release she so craves in her undercarriage. I don't know how she does it. She won't answer my letters. The point is, people are strange. No, the point is, as I said, most people are kind and decent and all the rest of it, but we are, at the moment, we're under a lot of pressure And I believe that we have to find as many unifying things as we can to keep ourselves strongly bonded to each other, right? Where the love is. And I think one principle we can agree on as a country post-Brexit, post-pandemic Britain, I think we've got to agree on one central principle, and I think it should be this. I think we've got to agree to stop asking thick people questions. Because it's not fair on the thick, is it? Because usually, one of the things about them being thick is they don't know they're thick. I don't know if you've seen Nadine Dorries try to give an interview. If she were any thicker, she'd set. Now, if you were travelling with Nadine Dorries, you wouldn't let her hold the boarding cards, would you? We've got to stop asking thick people questions, and it's happening all the time, right? News organisations, reputable news organisations, send camera crews out during the middle of the afternoon, during the middle of the working week, to talk to the kind of people who are available to give an interview during the middle of the afternoon, during the middle of the working week. A lot of you are ahead of me on this. Those of you who don't know where this is going, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon on the high streets. It's a weekend. It doesn't work. But they go out and ask, and then, listen, I'm not being a snob about this, neither intellectual nor class-based, right? I'm really not. But I think that a person whose main achievement in their day is securing a table at Wetherspoons for breakfast may not have the answers to the cost of living crisis. They may not fully understand the implications of introducing windfall tax on the energy giants with regards to further investment in the UK energy sector. Possibly. You know, you don't want to, you can ask them a question like that, but you might interrupt their booking at Greg's. And like I said, I'm not being, you know, I'm a very privileged man, very privileged, and I know how privileged I am, and I'm very lucky, you know. Christ, I went to boarding school when I was 7 years old. You know, perfectly normal for posh people. I still remember very well on my 7th birthday, my parents came in and said, "Well, I think that's enough of that." And off I went. Met them again in my early 20s. Lovely people, surprisingly tall. We put them in a home now. Revenge. Not a safe home either. One of the ones up here in the north. Awful. We pop up every few months, bang on the window, go, "Do you want another candle?" "No, fine." Got to stop asking thick people questions. It's not fair on the thick. You, sir. I tell you what I'm drawn to you. I suspect you and I are a similar... no, you're younger than me, aren't you? Either that or you've had a very hard life. How old are you, my friend?
52.
52? Oh, you're just a couple of years older than me. Good for you. What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew, listen, man, this is not a trick, not a trap. I'm not about making people look stupid. I'm genuinely curious, Andrew, who's 52. The broadcast news, right, TV and radio, when we were kids, when we were young, do you think it was better then, or do you think it's better now?
Too much now, it's constant.
Yeah. So do you think it was better then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We're a similar age, and I think that the older people in the room will probably agree that the news was better when we were young. And then let me tell you, for the young people here, I'll tell you why that is. It was better then, because it fucking ended. Which is exactly the point you were making, right? The news ended as it's supposed to. At 10:30, Britain phoned all the other countries on Earth, and for some reason they all agreed to do fuck all until lunchtime the following day. Do you remember? At the end of the news, someone used to pick up the phone and go, "Hello, it's Britain here. We finished doing the news. I wonder if you'd mind doing bugger all until lunchtime tomorrow." Oh, damn it, we were hoping to do more things, but I suppose if you have finished your news, then we are left with no choice but to stop it. All right then, bonsoir. So just check, is everyone all right with that accent? Is that okay? I have to be very careful doing accent these days. Is that one all right? Yeah, it's all fine, is it? All right, well, just so you know, that was a man from the Democratic Republic of Congo, French speaking. African, you're all racist, you're all cancelled. So, that's it, wasn't. I don't know, Andrew, maybe we were less well informed and we wouldn't have known. It's one of the functions of being less well informed. Look at Dominic Raab. You know, but I feel the news was a relatively simple affair, wasn't it? They came in and went, "Good evening. Something important's happened. I wouldn't worry about it. Good night. And that was and we were okay for it, right? It's something very important happened. They brought someone on to explain it. Good evening. Something very important's happened. We brought someone on to explain. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Yes, we're similar. That's how the news is. Good evening. Something very important's happened. I wouldn't worry about it. Good night. And that's sort of it. Do you remember what happened at the end of the news? If you didn't turn the telly off, get this, young people, they turned it off for you. I don't mean they eventually got round to turning it off at 5 in the morning after you'd spent 6 hours scrolling through apps you can't even remember downloading, looking for anything that isn't telesales, Christianity or porn. I mean, they literally went, no, we've told you what happened, we've sung you a song about the Queen, now fuck off to bed. That's it. If you want to have a wank, you'll have to use your imagination. That's where we are. Or drive to the all-night garage and pretend you're really there for dog food. Not anymore. News is not like that anymore. Now, at the end of the news, no matter how nuanced the story, no matter how much information you or I would have to add anything to the sum total of what's being discussed, someone on the news goes, and we really want to know, what do you think? No, I fucking don't! I don't want to know what you think. I certainly don't want to know what I think. I want to know what someone who knows more than I do thinks. Don't ask me. I spent the afternoon trying to build a candle that smells like my bumhole. Because I think there's a market in that. Stop asking famous people. They asked, before he died, they asked Meatloaf what he thought of Greta Thunberg. Meatloaf. Who gives a toss? There are two things we need to know from Meatloaf. Things he'll do for love. And what style of mammal he's coming out of hell as this week. They'll ask anybody, it's a fucking disaster. Question time is as near as we get to perfection, right? It's brilliant. It's the interaction between us and our elected representatives and those who have genuine influence over them. It is the best and most important news and politics program on television, and also completely and utterly unwatchable. Right? Genuinely unwatchable. The audience are mad, the panelists are far madder, but it's so close to being just what we need. All it needs, in my opinion, to make it the perfect program is the ability for us to phone in and vote people off. We know the technology exists, right? They do it on channel. I think everyone on Question Time, panel and audience, should be in one of Graham Norton's big red chairs. And if enough of us phone in and vote, the chair tips backwards, they slide down a flume into some form of Mensa. Or re-education program. But it's a diet, as you said, Andrew. You know, the news is fucking non-stop. It's a barrage. And I think especially during the pandemic, we became, or many of us, became addicted to it and quite unable to look away. 24-hour news is a mistake. We don't need it. We've never, well, 3 times in my life, we've needed 24-hour news. 9/11, the death of Princess Diana, and when that lady put a cat in the bin. You had to keep watching. It's a mistake. News is good because information is good. But if you do it all the time, that's a bad thing, right? Doing good things all of the time. Did anyone here complete Pornhub during the... I'd ask you to raise your hands, but I doubt you can. Right, 24-hour news is a mistake. It's like when you go on holiday and your dad gets up 3 days in and goes, I like this, we're moving here. Come on, we're going to move to Mallorca, kids. No, I think we can make a go of it. I'm going to run a business I just thought of, renting out windsurfers. Your mother's going to build sandals out of things we find on the beach. It's stupid, right? 24-hour news was the beginning of the end of us knowing stuff, right? Less is more. 24-hour news versus the news is like the difference between staying up all night and deciding to stay up all night. Staying up all night, one of the best things you can do, is brilliant. Happens by chance. Deciding to stay up all night, one of the worst decisions an adult can make. And you're 52, Andrew, you'll know this. For every year that you have been alive after 25, if you stay up all night, you will pay for that in months. There are some people here who stayed up all night last New Year's Eve who are still not over it. Because when you stay up all night, incidentally, it's because the company you're keeping, the people, the drink, the laughs, the food, the music is so great that when that sliver of light that signals the dawn comes in through the window, if you're with those right people in that moment, it's magical. Someone will lean forward and go, love you guys. It's beautiful, isn't it? But if you decide you're going to stay up all night, every time somebody stands up to have a piss or get another drink, everyone goes, sit down! We said we were going to stay up! You're ruining this, you twat! We have to stop. We've got to stop asking thick people questions. Right? I listen to the radio a lot. Right? I love the radio. Radio goes on first thing in the morning. I listen mostly now to Six Music. Anyone? Any fans of Six Music? Yeah? If you don't mind me asking, the guy said, woo, how old are you? 61. No, that's fine. I like you. You're good. 61 and listening to Six Music. You've got to be careful. Because it's a very startling station, sir. I'm only 50, but I'm regularly startled by Six Music. For those of you not familiar, right, the presenters on Six, very low key. Very low key indeed. A lot of the music, not low key at all. It can catch you out. I've had 6 or 7 panic weeks this week alone. This next track is one that I discovered when I slipped into a storm drain in Bolivia. The percussion section is made by sheets of ennui gently battened together on the wings of a zephyr. It's by a group called... I hope you like it. Here it is. So I stick with Radio 2, lovely Radio 2 with Ken Bruce, where the most alarming thing that happens is someone being 1 year out on Popmaster. Goodness, be still my beating heart. You said 1978, it was 1977. Would you now like to spend an hour and a half saying hello to people who don't give a fuck? Oh, that's it. Listen, I love Six Music, but I recommend Radio 2. You should listen to Radio 2, particularly in the afternoon, for the Jeremy Vine show. Not least because it bears out my theory that we must stop asking thick If you've not heard the Jeremy Vine show, it's a phone-in show, and it's the most listened to phone-in topical show that there is. So it's a good indicator of where we're at as a country. It starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, lasts for, I believe, 18 hours. No one's made it all the way to the end. Even Jeremy Vine leaves well before it's over. The rules, if you're not familiar with it, very simple. Jeremy Vine takes a topic from the day's news. Rule 1. Jeremy Vine must know very little about the subject being discussed. Rule 2, the people ringing in must know much less than that. And the more important the topic, the lower the quality of phone call you can expect on the Jeremy Vine show. 288 291 BBC.co.uk. We really want to hear from people on this one. Give us a call. Find BBC.co.uk 288 291. Has Jeremy Hunt done enough? Has he done enough to turn around the fortunes of the UK? Are poor people going to suffer? They're talking about a squeezed middle. Do give us a call 288 291. Are you in the squeezed middle? Are you one of the people who find yourselves working hard and now you feel like you're being punished? Jeremy, give us a call 288. Hello, Jeremy, long time listener, first time caller. I tell you what it is, Jeremy. There's a bloke in our WhatsApp group who drives a Tesla, so he's worth listening to. It's like a car, Jeremy, but he moves using magic. Incredible. Anyway, what it is, Jeremy, is this. He reckons when they changed their phone plan to O2, his son's asthma got worse, so I don't think we should have taxis. 291, we're taking calls on the mini budget. Have you been affected by it? Are you worse off? Are you, for example, a small business owner feeling the squeeze? Are you facing mortgage payments or rent payments that are rising to 291? Hello, Jeremy! This is Margaret from Cornwall and I'm batshit mental. I'm listening everyday caller. I have to disguise my voice, Jeremy. I'll tell you what I think about it. Well, we're taking calls on the mini budget, Jeremy Hunt. Well, I'll tell you what I think, Jeremy. I think there's too many electric scooters, yes. Children get to get around at speed. What the little sticky fingers. They're too fast, Jeremy. Why wasn't Susanna Reid wearing a poppy? Simply because we've already had remember and say, well, you really care about the fallen or you don't, Jeremy? What do you care? I'll tell you what I think, right? Do you want to know what I think about the Jews? This is Ed Sheeran. We've got to stop asking thick people questions. If you're listening, it's no one's fault. Because you don't know who's thick. You don't know who's thick. We don't know who's thick here tonight. Right, well, I'll show you. We'll split the audience in two, the thick half and the bright half. Can the thick half now raise your hands? There you go, yourselves some hands put up at the back. You're probably the most intelligent person in the room, really understanding that in the UK, being self-demeaning carries a certain currency. Well, I know I'm really terribly thick. I barely finished learning Welsh. But there is, look, there's a very speedy way. If you want to find out whether if you don't already know them, if you want to find out whether the person you're talking to is thick or not, there's a very speedy little test you can run, and I hope you'll find this useful. I found it absolutely essential. If you want to find out very quickly if a person is thick, what you do is you ask them what they think about Meghan Markle, and if they have a strong opinion, they're thick as fuck. Good evening. I'm aware there'll be one or two of you in tonight with a strong opinion on Meghan Markle, you thick twats. Let it go. We don't know her, you don't know her. A reasonable response, an opinion on Meghan Markle, right? Because she's fucking everywhere now, but a reasonable response to any question about Meghan Markle would be, I don't really know her. I mean, I've seen Suits. Is that anything? No, not all of it. No one's seen all of it. What's she done? She got married. Okay. Moved away. Okay. Don't know. Good luck to her. Look, I've got to go. I've got a table booked at Greg's. I mean, the reality is it's only really a very, very small group of people who are upset about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Most people are like, oh, absolutely no idea and don't care. I think a great many of us, after the Queen died, who'd had sort of very mild Republican feelings beforehand, going, well, I mean, I've nothing against the Queen, but I sort of find it quite hard to justify the enterprise. As soon as the Queen was actually gone, went, no, fuck that, burn it down, burn it down, burn it down. Oh, no, wrong place. Okay. That's where I found myself. Anyway, but it's a tiny group of people who care about the Meghan Markle thing very, very passionately. They're very passionate. The moment Meghan Markle met Prince Harry, these people lost their shit, and as far as I can tell, they've made no effort to locate that shit since the day they lost it. You mentioned Meghan Markle, the moment that she met Prince Harry, they're like, no, you fuck off, you are not a princess! You are not a princess, you fuck off! Fuck off, you're not Diana, you're not Elsa, you're not Anna, you fuck off! The moment they said they were fucking off, oh, I see you're fucking off! You told us to, not like that! When they first went, they said they were going to split their time between Canada and the UK. What, like a fucking goose? And no, it's not prejudice. It's got absolutely black to do with her being nothing. It's easy to get bogged down in stuff like that. You know, because there's the ugliness. You know, when you think about those boats, people coming in boats across the channel, you know, and wonder to yourself, perhaps, what it would take for you. What would be the driver for you to get in one of those at night with your family? And then you see our disgraced Home Secretary saying that she dreams of punishing them by seeing them on a flight. I swear, and it's ugly. And for me, I have to, like, comedically for sure, but also for my own sanity, I have to find joy somewhere in the mess of all of that. And weirdly, one of the bleakest things there is, I've started to find very funny, and that is Nigel Farage going down to the Kent coast. I don't know if you've seen him do this, but he's recorded lots of videos of him going down to the Kent coast basically to bark at the open sea like an insane dog that needs shooting. I love a dog, me. I love dogs. Dogs are wonderful. I know most British people are basically dog lovers, but you probably all know someone who owns a dog that you think should be shot. And for us, he does. He goes, he doesn't know if there'll be a boat, where there'll be a boat, or when there'll be a boat. But he goes down to the Kent coast and stands staring into the open ocean. Goes, whoa, 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 whoa. He's like one of those shit dogs who lives near a railway line, but never gets over the existence of trains. You know those, you see those, whoa, 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 whoa. There was a train. That's for us. And they're all upset. Him and his thick-necked friends, they're all upset that the people in the boats are mostly young men coming over. Young men. Of course they're young men. They walked here from Syria. Who do you think they were going to send? Granny? Did they have a conversation one night in Damascus going, "We've lost everything. Everything is destroyed. It is gone. We must get help. Somebody must go for help. We speak English, so somebody must walk to Dover. Granny, you go. You go." Gets there, sees Suella Braverman. "No, fuck that. I'll take my chances with the barrel bombs." Unclear why her accent is so different. I think she's been trying very hard to integrate. They're all young men in the boats. I've not met the young fellas from the boats. Don't know if you've met any of the young men from the boats. Don't know what they're like. But they might be who we need. Let's at the very least check if they can drive a lorry. They might be who we need. I mean, they've got something about them, haven't they? Walked here from Syria. They weren't sponsored. That's not how it works. "Oh, no, seriously, mate, we're going to bloody walk to Dover. It's going to be amazing." "Yeah, no, come on. Put a few quid on my GoFundMe page, you absolute pleb." "Oh, come on, it's me and Ahmed and Crazy Larry. If Ahmed finishes it, he's getting his Duke of Edinburgh bronze." It's not who they are. But they might be who we need. I'm not sure yet. But I do know for a fact that I'm not the only person in this room tonight who's paid £3.49 for a film on Amazon Prime that you can see on DVD on the shelf above your telly. Don't you freeze me out now, Chorley. You know you're here, you corpulent pricks. Sitting there remote in hand going, "Oh, look at that. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, $3.49 on Amazon Prime. Do you fancy Ferris Bueller's Day Off?" And she's like, "That, I can see it. It's there. It's on DVD right there, all the way over there." It's a bit of a walk that. We'd have to find the HDMI cable. No, the kids will have done for that. You order a Deliveroo, that DVD may as well be in fucking Damascus. So I believe you've got to find joy, gratitude where you can. It's not been difficult for me, I'll be honest with you. Not been difficult because I got married just before the pandemic started. And that's meant that the whole thing in its own mad way has been pretty wonderful. Because I loved my wife very much when we got married, and I love her even more now. Because I think that the pandemic, and the lockdown especially, was an accelerant for whichever direction your relationship was going in when it started, right? Being locked down with nowhere to go is sort of the equivalent of having your mother to stay for a year while you're pissed. It added some pressure to the relationship, but we've found that we're closer than ever. And listen, it does help, I'll be honest about this, put my hand up and say, it does help that in our marriage, I'm doing something known as punching above your weight. Which is great, it's a good thing. It's when you're in a mismatched relationship, if you don't know, my partner's cleverer than me, more talented, younger, prettier, and all the things, and it's fucking great. It's good for me. I'm up early, whiz downstairs, empty the dishwasher, put it on a hot cycle in case she wants a little puff. You know, I've never really heard the term punching above your weight till after we got married. And some pictures went out on social media, and literally thousands of strangers contacted me to go, "Holy shit, Brigstock, you were punching above your weight." And I did this show at the Edinburgh Festival, and Rachel was up there with me. I did the show, and on the second day, after the first night, we were walking along, and there was a couple we bumped into on the Royal Mile and went, "Oh, we saw your show last night. It was absolutely wonderful." And, "Oh, you weren't kidding." Fuck off and knit another chicken jumper, you two. It's all right. I like punching above my. Any of you punching above your weight? Oh, there's. Yes, down here. You're pointing. Are you a couple? Yeah, good for you. What's your name, sir? Michael and Beth. Hello, Michael and Beth. Are you married? Not yet. Are you engaged, Michael? Not yet. Oh. Shh, this could be a hell of a moment. I mean, just think what you have to look forward to. How long have you been together, guys? 4 years. So, like through the pandemic. That's magnificent. And what do you do, Michael? No, sorry, not for a job, mate. What do you do to hang on to Beth? Because this is fucking, you can't see you guys back there, but I've never seen a mismatch like this in my fucking life. I'm kidding. Good luck to you guys. I hope you do find happiness together and live your lives. And it's wonderful. When we got married, to be honest, it's only after the ceremony, you know, when you come out, that you can talk to all of your friends and family. We came out and they were hugging Rachel and going, "Oh, congratulations, that's lovely." With me, they're like, "That is fucking amazing." What have you done it? You love her, you go down on her, and you stay there till she tells you she's finished, and then you check and see if she wants to go again. And that was my dad, Michael. So that's to give you an idea. And I've got, as I mentioned, I've got teenage kids from my first marriage, two kids, 19 and 17. We should have thought of better names. But it's a lot for them, you know, this reset, and I actually asked the two of them for their blessing before I asked Rachel to marry me. It was very important to me to ask them, and I sat down. It was very emotional. They were sitting either side of me, and I said, "Guys, I've got something I wanted to ask you. I'm thinking of asking Rachel to marry me, but I wanted to ask the two of you for your blessing." And they were so sweet, and they gave me a big hug, and they said congratulations and stuff. And I was crying a bit, and I said to them, "God, I was so nervous about asking you that." And my son Alfie said to me, he said, "Oh, Dad, bless you, you didn't need to be nervous. We're far too thick to understand what this means in the long term." And then Emily, my daughter, stood up, put her hands on both my shoulders, and went, "Oh, my dad's all grown up." That's been so hard for them, right? The lockdown especially, my God. Were any of you locked down with teenage kids? Yeah, with nowhere to go with their hormones. Poor bastards, Christ. My son's a lovely boy, he's a lovely boy, but there's no doubt at all in my mind that there were days when his testicles were talking a good deal louder than his brain could manage. You know, he'd be trying to engage us in conversation, but his balls were shouting, "Just get a thing fucked. Fuck your hand, fuck a sock, fuck a shoe, fuck the pillow, fuck the duvet, fuck the curtain, fuck the fridge, that'll cool it for a minute. Fuck some yogurt, that takes a sting out of a curry, try that. Fuck the letterbox, at least that's got a furry bit on it or something. Our postman won't come round anymore." And my daughter, teenager, growing into adulthood, I don't know how she's supposed to make sense of any of it. Don't know how she's supposed to make sense of her own body, you know? As a young woman, how's she supposed to make sense of her own periods if all she's seen are the adverts? No. Happily going about her day and then suddenly, whoop. No, well that's not right, that's supposed to have been light blue screen wash. Should have been light blue screen wash falling on a clean sanitary pad on a freshly polished worktop. I can't say. Not gonna lie, that's mostly blood at the moment. I think mine's broken. Has anyone else got broken one? Actually, has anyone got pita bread? Extraordinary thing is, if anything, I feel less inclined to do cartwheels. I was quite sure from the adverts that would be one of my main activities. Unmentioned stomach cramps mean if I were drawing up a list to put rollerblading with Dalmatians very low down indeed. So they've done great, and I'm very grateful. And here's the big exciting news. Rachel and I have had a baby. So I now have a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a newborn. I'm fine. It's incredible. It's so incredible, and he's so brilliant. He's a little boy called Billy. He just turned 1, and I just adore him. And he's mad, and he's no sense of self-preservation at Oh, he will be brilliant when he eventually gets a cabinet position. He's brilliant. And one of the things that's happening is that we're going now to the baby sensory classes, you know, the sort of baby music and touch classes and stuff. It's lovely. And I'd forgotten just how wonderful that experience is of seeing them lit up, and it's so beautiful and very, very competitive. You think it isn't going to be, but it's so competitive, and you see them all encouraging theirs to walk. I've got older kids. If anyone's got more than one kid, you'll already know this. The first kid, when they crawl, you're thrilled. When they walk, you're thrilled. Your second kid, you'll do anything to keep them where the fuck you left them. I put Billy in Velcro pants and glued him to the carpet for the first year. But Billy and I have been, I won't say expelled, but we have been suspended from our baby sensory class. They say you can't swear at a 7-month-old, but I'll tell you what happened, and you be the judge. We've been singing a weaning song, right? So the babies are moving from milk to solid food, which is quite stressful, actually, because you don't know what they like, and you've got to get enough nutrition in them, and they're messy and da da da. So we sing this song. We say 1, 2, 3, 4, the name of the baby and the food they've tried. It's very sweet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Billy likes broccoli. That's all it is. Lovely. We sit in a circle and we sing it each week to see where the baby's at and try and encourage each other. And we're sitting there, and off we went to 1, 2, 3, 4. Billy likes broccoli. And the next one's there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sam likes pasta. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sophie likes omelettes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Neve likes 3 mushroom risotto. Fuck off, Neve. So they've asked Billy and I to leave, and stupid Neve. Anyway, this is wonderful, and I am very grateful for my life. I'm grateful for the things I've learned during lockdown about closeness, about slowing down, about seeing value amongst those of us who live together and how we're connected to each other. I'm grateful as well for the absence of some things, right? I mentioned I was married before, and then suddenly I was single and I was not good at it, so I'm grateful for no longer being single. I found it very traumatic. I don't know if any of you are single. Anyone single? I'm no threat to you. Yeah. It's very difficult these days, you know. It's changed.
No.
Yeah.
No,
you're happy.
Oh yeah.
So, oh no, happy as you like. I'm guessing from that you've given relationships a go. You're like, fucking leave me alone.
I'm divorced.
You're divorced and you're as happy as punch. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
You know, these days, if you aren't dating, you can be rejected by people you haven't even met. That's how brutal it is. The old swipe left, swipe left, just on the basis of your face being too long for the screen of an iPhone 12. That is rude. These are proximity apps as well, right? A lot of them are based on how nearby you are. That used to count for something, didn't it? If you were still there at the end of the disco, you weren't necessarily in, but you got some points. When the lights came up, you could legitimately go, listen, I know I'm hideous, the lights are on, but fuck it, I'm still here, come on. So a lot's changed in the world of dating. Consent, you know? Listen, I'm not an arsehole. I've always known that consent is absolutely crucial. I work at the BBC, but I got the memo. Spin that ice in that thing. But the consent issue, because I'd not been dating for a long time, was very scary. You know, if I thought it'd be more than just a peck on the cheek, it's like I need permission for every single thing that happens here. Right? I need consent for all of this. I'm going to need to ask a lot of questions. From her point of view, it must have been a lot like fucking an optician. Is it okay now? And how about now? Do you like it more when I put that in? Or do things seem better when I take it out? Is it better with one? Or with two? With one? Or with two? You could just start at the top and work your way down as far as you feel able. No, that letter is actually O. And hold nice and still, I'm just going to squirt something in your eyeball. Bit of filth to end with, so there we are. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you have been such a wonderful audience. I'm going to ask a little thing of you now. Can we please give an absolutely massive round of applause for all of the lovely people who work here at the Chorley Little Theatre. Thank you for making all these places. When we lost all our gigs, this is what we dreamed of doing, of coming back. So, like I said, I really, really, really appreciate you all being here. Would you please give one more big round of applause for William Stone, my wonderful... And I just wanted to say, you know, especially with where things are at with the cost of living and everything, I just wanted to say thank you for coming to this show tonight. Please tell people if you enjoyed it, tweet about it, or Twitter's gone now, I presume, but just tell people if you liked it. If you didn't, tell people as well. That's just as important. It was shit. But I just wanted to say that, just to let you know that a small portion of the ticket money that you have paid for tonight's show will be going to Gene. The lawyers have made that very clear. That contractually has to happen. Listen, you've been absolutely delightful. Thank you so much. Take care. I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.